Now what we will be doing is we will go to some previous exam question where, of course, we will focus on friction for today. This is typically the format of the exam paper if you haven't seen one. Basically for static we will have 3 hours. So this is a rough calculation of how much time you should spend on any particular question, right? Because we have 3 hours, which is 180 minutes for 100 marks. So roughly speaking, you should spend only 1.8 minutes per mark. Meaning if that question gives you 10 marks, if you spend much more than 18 minutes, you are actually taking the time from other question, roughly. So that's how you're going to gauge whether you are prepared or not for your exam lah. Meaning if you try some of the question. Right, these are similar, right? You have to have a proof, a calculator, answer in pen, no gadget, etc. Okay. So we'll just browse through. So these are the type of questions that, this is exactly the last semester. So you have question this one, you have this 3D question. Hopefully you still remember how to deal with this one. And then you have frame. Familiar? So if you don't have any problem with this one, you just go lah. Kalau tak, this is the last sem problem. And okay, this one is for the friction question, right? So this is the diagram, and the question is actually this one. So we'll try this question here, just to get a feel of how to answer the question, right? Now, so the uniform crate shown in the figure, so this is the figure, has a mass of 160 kilogram. Assume that the man exerts only horizontal force on the crate. So we have A, B, C, D part, right? If the coefficient of static friction between the crate and the floor is 0.2, find and the smallest force by the man to move the crate need to be determined. What are the 2 assumptions that can be made? Draw Fribourg diagram corresponding to each assumption, clearly label which Fribourg diagram based on which assumption. 4 marks. How many minutes roughly? 5. Alright, so in 7 minutes, draw the 2 Fribourg diagram. 2. How many assumptions? Because the question says what are the 2 assumptions that can be made? Take first. And draw Fribourg diagram for each. So please draw and see how long you take. Yeah, you can let's take this time as the trial to see whether you are already okay or not. Okay, no problem. Okay, some important things. One is make sure all of the things are there, including the dimension for proper, especially in the exam. Second, another tip is each diagram should have the 3 unknown. Normally we have 3 unknown to solve. So if you count less than 3, meaning something is missing from your diagram. Right. So what do you have? You have assume sleep first, or assume take first, right? For sleep first and take first, what's the difference? What now? Normal. Which normal, which is not normal? Sleep first? Mac first. So this is B, it says horizontal, right? Yes. Meaning what? F max ini? Meaning? Ini apa? Okay, in this case because the question already give some values here, so this should be 160 times 9.81 and mu s is 0.2, so 0.2 and normal, right? And normal is here. Correct? Now, how many unknown do you see here? What is the missing one? 1 and 2, right? What is missing? Because there should be 3. X. Right, so that's how we check whether you have enough information or not. And the dimension, of course, right? 1.6. Another one is P, so N is at the tip here, F is here, 169.81. Alright. Several things. One is, because here is normal also, and Newton, right? To differentiate between this N and this N, it is suggested that you do not put N. But it will be confusing. When you calculate, you might think this is 0.2 Newton and you make a mistake, right? So to avoid that, let's just say, for example, N box or something. Right? Because that tends to happen. When you don't label, this is N, this is N, and when you calculate, you might add them up, which is not correct, right? So that's to be safe. Okay, if you have these two, okay, what's the question here? So that question, which is 4 marks, is just for your free body diagram. Part B, for each assumption, determine the smallest force needed to move the crate. You understand the question? For each question, what is the P? So for this one, how do you calculate? What do you do? Exclamation moment. Motion of X. How to start? Okay, normally we start with some value that we have. So this is easy, right? So in this case, we only have downward, so 1 is summation of Fy to 0. So you'll have NB minus 169.81 to 0, so NB, you have the value there, right? If NB you have the value, then this one you also have the value. Okay? So F equal to what? If that is settled, then summation of Fx equal to 0, P minus whatever value F there equal to 0, P also have that 0, right? So it's quite straightforward for this one. So this for this one. What is? Again, we start with the value, so the value is downward, so the summation of Fy equal to 0, basically you get NP also get the value there. It should be the same in this case. Then, how to get P? Because the question here, just now it says what the smallest force applied, P. How to get P? Moment what? So, because there's no point here, there's no assigned point there, so you should clearly state which point are you talking about in your diagram. You cannot say just a little moment or something. So, for example, if you take point O here or point A here, doesn't matter. For example, if you take summation of moment about point O equal to 0, what you'll have is, because you have already NB, and B times 0.6. This is with the counterclockwise. Minus B 1.6 to 0, so P, you get the answer, right? Because NB is also already had. If you take moment, say you take moment about point A equal to 0, so you will get similar thing, right? Because this one will get 169.81 0.6 counterclockwise and minus P 1.6, so P you get also the answer. Okay. Any which way, it doesn't matter, just that you have to clearly label which point you are referring to. So if you do that for this particular question, that already answered the question, because the question say in this semester actually it is yes.
Why can't I make summation of fx for the second part?
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Why
Can I
can?
make summation of fx equal to 0?
Okay, you do summation of fx equal to 0 then?
So p minus f equal to 0, so p equal to f.
But you don't have f, right?
F should be mu n.
No. This assumption f is less than mu s n, right?
Oh.
Because take first, meaning this should not be reaching the maximum one. Sleep first, this should be already maximum before n reach the n. Right? You can do this, but you cannot solve anything because you will stuck there. Right? You will use this one to calculate f actually. If you want to compare, or if you want to check whether this assumption is wrong, right or wrong. Right? If f is less than usn, then it's correct. If s is more than usn, the assumption is wrong, right? That's the checking method. Right? But this semester, the way it is structured is such a way that they actually do step by step, so that if you follow, for example, based on the answer part on part B, which assumption is correct. So if you already calculate P here and P here, how do you determine which one is correct? The smaller one is the correct one. Right? So it's straightforward, you get the 2 points. Unless you make mistake here. Right? So it already structured so that, because I think this semester the lecturer wants to help in terms of doing step by step, because before the student always, the step is always not clear what's going on. So they say might as well for the examiner it's easier to mark when it's clear what's going on step by step, right? So that's the intention. We'll see previous semester this question is not structured in the way. Anyway, part D, determine the smallest weight of the man so he can move the crate. The coefficient of between his shoes and the floor is 0.45. Okay, back to the question. He says what is the smallest weight of the man so that he can push this one, and the mu here is given. How do you solve? Do you understand the question? What is the smallest weight of the man? Do you understand that? And what is the weight of the man? The smallest weight of the man so he can move. When the coefficient is this one. Because meaning that if he weighs less than that, he cannot move. Impossible to move. Right. For example, if you have a very small person to move a big crate, this is not the issue of strong. Okay, the issue of, for example, because the friction, okay, how to, meaning what is if you don't have an issue of friction, of course it's the issue of how strong you are, but when you have the issue of friction, meaning it's corresponding to, because friction, if you understand this one, the bigger your mass, the weight, because this corresponding to your weight, right? The bigger the friction can be. If you are very light, if you push very hard, you will actually the friction cannot support you. You will slip. So that's the issue of it's not to say the strength of the guy, meaning that there will be a limit where his shoes will slip first before the box move, right? Because the friction here is much larger, so here have to have a friction here big enough so that this move before this move, right? So that's basically the idea. But anyway, so what do you do? How many minutes should this be solved? 3 times 5 minutes, right? Okay, can you solve this in 5 minutes? Okay, so one thing that is interesting this semester that is never has been the case for previous semester is that you have an open book test. So normally the 5 minutes is flipping the book lah, 5 minutes. So you already waste your time. So make sure question as simple as this, you don't waste time like that lah. Meaning if you have to take the time to flip through the books, you already exceed the time normally you need, right, for this type of question. So what do you need to do? Even if, for equilibrium problem, even if you quite blur what is going on, first step is always what? Free. Okay, so draw the free body diagram, right? Okay, do not waste 5 minutes to draw like that. Okay, so that's not important. Ini it doesn't. We don't. Kenapa belt tak ada? That's not important, right? Okay, so what forces do we have? The weight is 1. T. Okay, how do you draw P here? To the right or to the left? To the right, to the right. To the left. Siapa cakap ni? Right, what? Right. Who says to the right? Who says to the left? Kau ni tahu cakap atau tak? Okay, what? Okay, before that, here what do you draw? Normal, upward or downward? Okay, what is the meaning of normally upward? If I draw normal downward, what does it mean? It means that the floor is pulling me down, right? In this one, the floor is pushing me up, right? So if I draw to the right, what does it mean? If I draw that like this. Yeah, meaning the box is pulling me there, right? Just that is weird. So it should be like this, right? Because from the perspective of the person, the box is countering the force, right? Friction, which direction? To the right or to the left? Right. I think. Why? Counter the force. Okay, again, we have this question before, right? Is it counter the force or counter the movement? Because like we have before, right, a slanting setup, so it's not just the force, it's what movement is the tendency, right? So what is the tendency of the movement of the leg? To the right or to the left? Try. If you push, the leg tend to slip there or slip here? Backward, right? So because of the leg want to move backward, so that's why the friction is that direction, right? Okay, it's different if you pull. If you pull, then your leg tend to slip here, right? Boleh try lah kat bilik air tu. Okay. So what's the label? So because that is N here, so let's say this is N man. So the friction here in the what's the coefficient? 0.45, right? So this become F max is 0.45 and man this will P, right? P is the value is already there. So can you solve for this W? What do you do? First, summation of Fx equal to 0 because P is already known, then you know this one, which means you know N, right? Meaning you know this one, and do summation of Fy equal to 0, you get the weight. So that's how you solve. So if you have done enough exercise, this one will be quite automatic, you know, step by step what to do, and you can do it in 5 minutes, no problem. If normally when you took too much time is when you read the question, you know, then normally, I think in the exam there are normally generally two extreme. One is those who will be busy writing until the end. One will be those who are boring because they don't know what to do. Right? So normally those who just they got boring, they don't know what to do. The examiner also boring because there's nothing to mark. So make sure you are not this category. Alright. Because if you know of everything, that is meaning if you have the understanding on what to be answered, the time is meaning the time will always be filled with you writing, because the exam it does take a lot of your time actually. The 3 hours given, especially for some questions, you have to actually think for a little bit. What else? Dah habis. Alright. So that is for this part. There's this exam last semester, and then of course normally you'll have the integration question. You have the composite question, right? Ada yang macam pernah tengok kan? Alright. So this is one semester before that, which is semester 1, 2007-18. Still 3 hours, the same. So there's this question here. Always position vector, etc. That's the common question, which normally will have quite a big quite a big mark. In total 20 is 1/5 of the question because it's quite long. And then this one, the truss frame. If you look at this, what do you respond? Alhamdulillah. Right? Okay, make sure you know how to deal with spring. What is first question is what? Is there any 2 force member, this 2 force member, etc. Right? So make sure you know this. This is truss. Is there any 0 force member? Yeah. Which one? This one you can say 0, right? From here. Okay, for this question, if you know this is 0, then you can start here, right? Because you have to unknown. But if you do not know, then you have to solve this one first, which will be long. So make sure you know 0 force member. Alright, this is friction. Okay, so it's a bit different in that sense. It combines with that one. Okay. So block A has a mass of 50 kg. This is 50 kg. Rest on the surface which have the coefficient of 0.25, 0.25 here. If the pack at C is smooth, so no friction here. Okay, what's the implication? If there's no friction, what happens? This some tension, right? Determine the greatest mass of the suspended cylinder D. So what is the mass here? Without causing motion. Clearly state this. You understand the question? What is the maximum basically mass of this without causing motion? Meaning any bigger it will cause motion, right? What motion is possible? Is there any assumption? Is there any different possibility or only one possibility here? Is it possible to tip? Is it possible to sleep? If that is the case, then there's 2 assumptions, right? As before. So how do you draw? So it says clearly state any assumption. So what is the assumption? Tip first or slip first, right? So again, is there any problem here? This is exactly just okay. The only difference is this one, right? Okay, tip first. Okay, okay. Weight is what? 59.81, right? If tip first, N is where? Here or on the edge of the right or left? Right. How many of you on the right? How many of you see on the right? On the left? Why? Yeah, because it tend to tip that way, right? The end friction. Okay, in this case, N is here, X is here, F equal to mu S, N, which is 0.25, and okay, and weight there, right? So I assume from here you know what to do, right? So I don't need to, do I need to show everything? Or you can just look at other type of question. Right? But if you try this one, the difference is that because of this angle, you have simultaneous equation. Before it's easy because x is x, y is y, there's no interrelation, right? In this case, you have to solve simultaneous equation. But I believe you know what to do, right? Yep. So this is composite. Okay. This is. Okay. Do you know how to solve this one? So moment. Okay. So we'll cover some of this next week if you want. So you have integration, you have composite. Okay. So the trend is. Alright, so this is semester 2, 2016-17. Okay, just out of interest, do you know how to solve this one? Do you know what to do? Do you know how to draw the free body diagram? Biasa senang kan? Kita tahu. If you draw free body diagram of what? Of the wing, right? So if you draw the wing, meaning you detach from the body here, what will you draw here? What is the support direction? So in this case, the question actually already said, hint, the free body diagram of the wing, for the free body diagram of the wing, the type of support of the wing is mentioned in the question. What is it? Basically this word, right? Okay, if it's fixed, what do you draw here? AX and YZ, right? Moment X, moment Y, moment Z, right? Alright, so no problem, full mark again. Okay, so this one, any problem? Okay, this is thrust. The problem, so this is distributed loading combined with free integration, composite. Alright. This is okay. This is quite different than the type of question that we have covered so far. But in the by the way, the question just now, I forgot to mention. Do notice what the question one. For example, in this case, your final answer should be what just now? Should be mass. When you calculate P just now, what do you get mass? You get weight, right? So you have to divide by your gravity, right? So to get the full mark. So sometimes we miss that one if you. So the best, I think the best practice is when you read the question, you state what is the final answer. For example, M equal to. So when you answer, you look back. Oh, okay, I haven't finished. For example, right? So that's because normally when you calculate, you forget actually what the final answer should be, right? Now, for this one, okay, determine the minimum force P necessary to prevent the 20 kg rod AB from sliding. The contact surface at B is smooth, whereas the coefficient of static friction between the rod and the wall is 0.25. 8 marks. How many minutes? 12 minutes. 10 minutes, 11 minutes. Okay, so now please draw and see whether you have any problem for the free body diagram first. Because I want to see how you draw the friction, the direction of the friction, which direction. sure every information is in your curriculum. There's a weight there also. So any problem or any question? Any problem? Now, before going into the details, one reminder when we talk about free body diagram. What does this free mean? Yeah, so if you still have in your drawing the wall and the floor, then your mark is gone. And so make sure, I think not many do that, but if you still have the tendency to do that, make sure it is actually a free body diagram, not this diagram, right? So basically you have only the rod there. Is there any problem? Is there any issue that you are not sure about? This one is sure, right? P. What do you have here? The normal. Do you have anything else?
No.
No friction?
No.
Why not? So it is smooth. At point A. Friction upward. Friction upward. Upward. Okay, is there anything else? Do you have no one? No. So this one, everyone agree it's left. So the issue here is the friction, right? Why is it upward or why is it downward? To upward. Sliding downward. How do you know it's sliding downward? Is it possible to slide upward? No, possible to slide upward. Which tend to happen? Is it many in this question? Is it tend to slide down? If it slide down, then this will move here, this will move here, right? Or is it tend to, because you push it, it tend to go up, where this go up and this go here? Whatever. Based on this force. And then this black one. Right. Now, if this goes up, friction will be downward, right? But if this goes down, friction will go upward. So it's important to determine which one. To the left. This red one. Which one? Of course. Okay, there's another weight here. Right? The weight is given, right? Okay, so what's the the red one? Black one. Why? How do you know when the big push is going up? Because this weight might be pushing it back. But you say remember the case of the box on the slanting. So you have to understand the word used, right? Okay, let's say there's two situations. This is just one situation is something happen where this is going here, meaning it's tend to move up. Meaning the push is actually causing it to go there. One is what even if the push, they still want to slide down, right? Now, when we talk about force here, in this case, meaning the maximum is at the point where, will the question be about minimum or maximum? Kita tahu. Meaning because we are talking about static, meaning when the issue is it is just before it move up. Meaning the question is F, the maximum F or minimum? FP? Maximum, right? Because meaning at that limit it's still static. After you reach that more force, then it will push up, right?
Yes.
In this case, maximum or minimum?
Minimum.
Minimum, right? Because meaning that's the minimum requirement so that it doesn't slide down. If you go push more, it's okay, but if you push less, it will slide down, right? In this question, which one?
Minimum.
What's the minimum before slide? Meaning the sliding is sliding down. So in this case, friction will be upward. Right? Because you can try, if you answer with friction downward and upward, the answer is different. You cannot assume. You have to understand what's going on. So the question is this situation, meaning friction upward. Okay, after that I assume you know what to do, right? What do you do? How many unknown here? What is this one? Which is 0.25 and A, is it? So you have 1, 2, 3 unknown. What we are interested is in P, right? How do you solve this? Is it necessarily free simultaneous equation? Or is there an equation you can solve something? Berapa minit sepatutnya soalan itu tadi? Of course, this type of question, a different type of question, normally it will take more time if you haven't done anything on similar question. If you have done, then it comes back quite short time, right? What do you do? If you want to waste time, save time. Is there any? Normally we take moment at the point where it reduces the number of unknown, right? Is there any moment at any point that only one unknown? So moment about point B, right? So if you take moment about point B equal to 0, you only have this is known, this is unknown, but both have only one unknown. So in the end, you can solve and A, right? If you solve an A, then what can you do? What's that? Summation of Fx. Because the NA already settled, so P minus NA to 0, P you get. That's right. Okay, next question. If the contact surface B is not smooth, will the minimum force P necessarily will be higher or lower? Do you understand the question? Because just now this is smooth, right? So no friction. If there's a friction here, P, the minimum P will be higher or lower? Why? Because there's a question there. Why? Yeah. You cannot just, if there's nothing, you boleh tembak lah kan? But there's a reason why. Okay, friction will be in which direction? To the left. What's the movement here? Is it the red one or black one? The red one, right? Right. That's why our friction nak pun, right? So if this is the movement, then friction will be right. If friction is here, P needed, it will be higher or lower? Lower, because to counter this from sliding down, you have friction plus this one. Before only this one, right? So with friction, some of the counter is spring friction, so this will be lower. Now, question like this, like y, etc., it just only give you 2 marks. So not that many, but there are a lot of that. For example, this one you have y here, 2 marks. There's y here, another 2 marks. That's right. So if you count, it can be around 10 marks in total. 10 marks in total for final means 5 marks in the total mark, right? Because final is 100%, it will become your 50% of your mark. So 10% become 5% of your total mark. So it's not that big, but 5% differentiate 1 grade lah. Between A and A minus or B and B plus, right? So kalau tak dapat pun just base 1 grade je lah. But it can be significant, right? So make sure. And this one, do not, okay, the amount of mark given, if 2 marks, how many minutes? Around 4 minutes, right? So it means it doesn't, we do not expect you to write 1 page paragraph, or it doesn't need that long, right? So just straight to the point. Okay. We take another one. This is semester 1, 2016 and 17. Oh, just by the way, just want to share one story about this one. Okay, this one, if you look at this, is it easy or difficult? Because semua pada easy je mana ada. Now, this is about moment, couple moment. Can you notice the couple? This and this couple, this and this couple, right? Now, for those who take this semester, actually, this question is actually copy paste from the midterm. Because in this semester, I think most of them do very badly the midterm. So we decide, tak apalah, ambil je lah sedikit soalan midterm ni. Kalau dia study midterm tu dapatlah free mark kan. Tapi dia tak dapat jawab juga. So just because some question is already covered in midterm, if this happen, make sure you already know how to answer. Otherwise it's just, because this is exactly, it's copy paste of the midterm, right? It rarely happen, but sometimes bukanlah nak buat prank apa tak, tapi bagi chance kan, tapi dia tak nak chance tak apalah. Okay, this one, another one. We have only time for another one, I think. Okay, again 3D. This is normal. We have 3D question, position vector, etc. Right? Trust. Okay, if you think this one, this is easy, difficult. Easy, alright. This one, have you seen this before? Yes. This one, have you seen this before? Yes. Alright. We take a look at this. Okay, referring to the picture basically, what are the 3 possibilities that can happen if P is large enough to cause motion? So the question says there are 3 possibilities. What are the 3 possibilities? Before we only discussed 2, right? In this case, there's 3 possibilities. What are the 3 possibilities? If P is causing motion, meaning this P is large enough. Possibility 1 is siapa yang sleep? Okay, 1 is BT, right? Second is sleep, meaning B move. Third? A je yang gerak? Itu kena baca ayat kursi tu. So A and B sleep together. It moves together, right? So this will result in 3 different free body diagram, right? What is the difference between these two? This one normal is at the end. This is here, but friction will be F max here, right? What about this one? So N is here, and F max is here, right? But this n will be different than this n, because this n only have this weight, this one have the total weight there, right? Okay, so that is the three possibilities. So the question just asked, so there's 3 marks here, meaning if you state the three possibilities, you get the 3 marks. Whatever, however you want to answer, be the steps. Okay, and then it gives you the weight. Using the coefficient of certain friction, determine the largest P which can be applied to the cord without causing motion. There are pulleys, isn't it? Compare corresponding P. Okay, that's already hint. Compare the P and then you get the answer. Meaning what? You calculate P, and you get the smallest, right? So you know what to do, right? Equation of equilibrium and solve. Next, okay, this is the understanding part, or the Y or something. 2 marks, right? If you can change the two coefficient, meaning what? Meaning, okay, we'll go now. Okay, if you can change the two coefficient, meaning this one and this one you can change, or the dimension of B, meaning this size you can change, how will you change them so that the other possibility that occur when P is large enough? How many? Based on your part A. Because you have 3 possibilities, and you already answer one of these is the answer, right? It says, the question says, if you can change this or the size, how will you change so that the other possibility that will be the answer? For example, right? For example, if this is the answer, right? Just now, meaning this is the smallest P. How will you change this or the size of this so that this will happen? From here to here. Reduce the coefficient of this one. Okay. You do this here. One possibility. Another possibility. You increase the base here, right? For example, right? Okay, but how to make, if you want to make this one, what you will do? Increase one. This one. Okay, this one. You increase this one, then reduce this one. Yeah. Cover. So because there's no one answer in this question. There's maybe combination or whatever you want to answer, right? But it must be logical. For example, if you make this low and high, this tend to be sleeping, right? If this is low, this is high, this is split, but that also relates to the size also, right? Because can be, if you just increase this and this, maybe this tip, right? For example. So those are just for 2 marks. If you can explain anything, you can get that one. Right? So it's already time. So what we'll do is, because we only have one more class next Thursday, I believe Tuesday is holiday, betul? Yeah. So we have only one quiz left, which is on friction. And I'll try to post this on Italim. So because there are a lot of questions from past exam, just pinpoint which one do you think it's necessary to discuss, because we cannot cover all. Otherwise, if there's no one pointing at anything, I'll just randomly select lah, but it might not be helping you. So we'll be doing that, inshallah. So with that, we end the session. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.